Welcome to the Level Up Life podcast. I'm your host, Scottie Hobbs, and welcome to the second episode of season 2. Today, I will be having a conversation with Tanner Penrod. He spent some time locked up and with meth addictions. He talked about his family jerky business and the importance of your circle of friends. He volunteers his time helping as a mentor in the correction system and talks about some of the most important shifts that happened in his life to get him where he's at today. Tanner, welcome to the show. What's up, my friends? I'm here with my friend, Tanner Penrod. I'm super excited. Tanner, I'm just going to ask you first a question, like, who are you? What do you do?
So my name's Tanner Penrod, and I do beef jerky. That is what I do for a living. My father started a business 32 years ago. So I'm 37. I was 5 years old when he started it. And he started a business called Targy Brands. Targy Brands is a beef jerky packaging company, right? And so through that company, we do private labeling. And that's what I've been doing with my time. Now I am far from perfect, Scottie.
Okay.
So I've posted about this on my own social media, but I struggled for a lot of years with a meth addiction.
Okay.
I was in and out of prison for about 12 years on and off. That is a hard life to live. But when I was in this last time, one of the reasons that I really connect with you, I love that you changed your name, by the way, on Instagram to Business Mentor.
Okay.
Because I had an opportunity when I was in this last time. Me and four guys got together and we said, you know what, man, coming back to prison over and over sucks.
Yeah.
We hate it. We're tired of it. And so we went to the warden and we said, hey, we want to start a mentor program. We want to start a program where we can help people who are kind of straying off the path about what they're supposed to be doing in here, because trust and believe, in prison, drugs are available, stupid things are available.
Okay.
And not only that, but like we had the opportunity to have this guy, Dodds Hayden, came in, Hayden Beverage. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. He came in and met with us, and he's like, why am I here? You know, he got invited in, and I remember looking over at the other four guys, and they were all looking at each other. And I looked at him, I said, well, Mr. Hayden, we're tired of coming to prison, and we want to be mentored by successful people. Because when you surround yourself by successful people, you're successful, right?
Yep.
When you surround yourself with other felons, when you surround yourself with people who are doing dumb stuff, you're going to keep doing dumb stuff.
Yep.
And so, I remember he banged his hand on the table and he goes, yes, that's your salesman. That's your spokesman right there. And, you know, it was quite an ego boost. And the guy he was with actually said, I said, well, good. I'm glad you said that, Mr. Hayden, because I'm going to be selling cars when I get out of here and I'll sell one to you. And he goes, I'll buy one. And the guy that brought him in, one of the chief of prisons actually, goes, well, I wouldn't buy a car from you. You're too aggressive. The way you come at people is too aggressive. And I remember going, ugh. And you know, Mr. Hayden said, you're not going to sell a car to everyone, Tanner. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it was a really cool thing. We got to meet with a congresswoman of Idaho, came in and spoke to us. And that was the angle we wanted to take, was we wanted mentors from the community to come in and mentor us to be successful, so that we then in turn could go and meet with people in the prison once we got out and teach them and help them be successful.
Okay.
Then COVID happened. So what it turned into is, you know, we would do these little, man, I can't even think of the word, seminars, groups, where when someone would come to the facility, we'd say, okay, here's your job opportunities, right? Because we were at a minimum custody facility.
Okay.
And dudes would get like CS beef over in Boise. There's a crew that goes there. And so we would tell them a little bit about all the different job opportunities. Now, through my company, that's called the Alliance Program through the state of Idaho. Through my company, talking about coming full circle and paying it forward, I now have a crew out at my jerky factory that packages my products.
Okay.
And it's humbling, it's awesome, it's frustrating sometimes, because, with a lot of, you know, state agencies, there's a lot of, resistance or red tape that you got to go through to try and get cool things to happen for the guys, right?
Right.
But it's been an amazing blessing, for not just for my business, but for these guys to come and make an income so that they're saving for their release, so that when they get out and they go into the community, they have a nest egg,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And they have, recidivism in Idaho, I think, is like 85%, meaning uh, the guys that get out of prison, 85% of them, or 85 out of 100, are going back, right? And that was
Hmm.
me for a lot of years. And
Yeah.
so, especially when you're dealing with things like addiction and things like that, it's just this vicious cycle. So, anyway, I've had that amazing opportunity. I got back into the LDS church after
Cool.
I got out. Went to the temple for the first time, and baptized my son,
That's cool.
which was an amazing experience.
That's beautiful.
My son came to live with me full time, which is, just another amazing thing, amazing opportunity, and I'm very blessed. So,
Yeah. That's beautiful. God's doing some good things in your life.
amen.
So I got a question for you. We'll get to some of your business stuff in your company, but speaking of some meth addictions, being in prison, you said a few times. What do you think was one of the change agents where you're like, okay, I'm done. I've had enough. I need to do something different.
So when I was in this last time, I have two children. I have my
Okay.
son, I have a daughter.
Okay.
Uh, my daughter lives with her mom in Boise, and we were talking, her mom and I didn't know my daughter was mine.
Okay.
And so we were talking one time, and she's like, Tanner, I can't believe that she's not yours. And she cries just like Xander, and she laughs just like Xander. Well, the guy that she was with at the time that we thought was the dad read the text messages. And he went and got a DNA test, and he wasn't the father.
Okay.
And so my folks went and did theirs, and excuse me, did like a grandparent paternal test, and they were the grandparents. And so now it wasn't just, hey, I've got a son out there who's taken care of, and I'm allowed to be an idiot, but also, like, now I have this little girl out there. And any dad can, as you
Yeah.
can say, having a son is one thing, but having that baby girl, I mean, it woke me up, and that's maybe terrible to say, that, oh, my son was fine. But, I mean, it was always a thing for me, but like, that was definitely knowing now that I had two children
Yeah.
that I was sleeping on and not there for, it was.
That's a powerful reminder. And when I hear that, I don't take it as you didn't look at your son as important, but there is something with the girls, I think too. Like I have three girls. It's one of the biggest things I think that I've heard that I think about from time to time is like if you are you someone that you would want your daughter to marry?
Mm,
And there were times I had to make shifts and changes in my life, and I'm like, I would not want my daughter to marry someone like me.
right.
And just that reminder that you have to have that self-analysis and realize, okay, I need to change. So that's cool that you made that shift and you made that change.
Amen.
Um, so you were 5 when your dad started the jerky company.
Indeed.
And so when did you get involved
Ugh,
with starting to
6.
work?
So in our family, it was always like a punishment to have to go and work at the jerky factory, right? Because, like, it's well, because when you're involved with it that way, and you're a kid, you're just like, I don't want to go work. I don't want, because you're lazy. I was lazy. But I mean, really, like, from day one, I mean, we, on some level, were all kind of involved, and then as the business expanded, we would get involved more and more. Spud harvest.
Mhm.
We'd be out there every spud harvest working. Summers, it was if we were needed, that we'd go out there. I mean, we'd have half the kids in the neighborhood would have fond memories of working out at the jerky factory.
Okay.
But really, like, I think around, well, so around around 15 is when I really like remember being like the most involved.
Okay.
And that's uh there was this guy, Bob Shinsius, who uh he had a label called Jerktown.
Okay.
And he he would all so we had a brand called Hey Dude Quick Foods.
Okay.
He was also helping us promote that. And so that is kind of my, tie into the Jailhouse thing is I years later, Bob calls us up and says, "Hey, are you guys still doing beef jerky?" I said, "Yeah, we're still doing beef jerky, Bob." Oh no, I said, "Yeah, we're still doing beef jerky." He goes, "Well, this is Bob Shinsius." I said, "Bob." He says, "You remember me?" I said, "Yeah, I remember you." And again, that just goes to because that's when I remember being out there the most. I remember, working out there regularly and the business was really expanding at that time.
Yeah.
So that's when I probably became the most useful, was probably about 15.
Yeah.
Up till then I was just the taste tester.
So you had this phone call, you reach out to Bob, and what did that lead into? What?
Yeah, so Bob called up and said, "Hey, I've got these guys and they want to go into beef jerky." He after his Jerktown label didn't work out, he went on into real estate
Okay.
and did very well for himself. And so he was in there with his partner Dom, and if you don't mind, I'm
Yeah, let's see it.
gonna go ahead and grab one of these bags. So this is Tony Darrow on the front of our bag right there.
Okay. I was wondering who that was the other day when I brought some home.
Yeah, so he was in Goodfellas, Sopranos, Once Upon a Time in
Okay.
Brooklyn. I mean, he's been very successful in his acting career, and he is the face of our beef jerky, if you will. And so, um, yeah, so Bob laid out the whole picture for me, and these guys have a lot of connections. There's a if I turned that sideways, there's a kind of a little movie poster on there that's called the Jailhouse Jerky Crew.
Okay.
And the Jailhouse Jerky Crew it's streaming on Amazon and Tubi. And it is a mob comedy about a bunch of guys that they go to steal 2 truckloads of electronics,
Okay.
and there's jerky inside the trailers instead. And shenanigans ensue, right? Like
Yeah.
so they started shooting this, and I think the concept at first was going to be like, a bunch of short clips. And then they all kind of went, "Oh, this is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like there's something to this." And so they shot that first pilot episode. It got picked up. But yeah, these guys, they're all from New York, and they're all connected. They all know the right people in the right places. And so I knew that this was going to be big.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be big for my parents. I knew it was going to be big for our company. And so I just put everything I had into it. So
That's awesome. So you're in a partnership with them? Is that
yeah,
what
so
that means?
because I our company was in a partnership with them, because I busted my butt and
Yeah.
I put in the work, they gave me a percentage of the company.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was the most flattering, amazing, like I did it moment,
Yeah.
when my guy Bob tells me that he's gonna do that for me, because being a guy who's in and out of prison and doesn't have 2 cents to rub together,
Yeah, that's cool.
to be able to be part of something that it is just, I mean, it's going national.
Okay.
And so to be a part of that is it was a big deal to me.
Awesome. Just thinking about that, one of the questions I wanted to ask you today is what's something you're most proud of? That's probably up there on the list. I can see that you're proud of that.
For sure.
Are there some other things that you're super proud of?
My son. My son is probably like he's the smartest, most capable kid who, because of me being in and out and stuff, he didn't believe in himself a lot. He
Hmm.
he had, every struggle that a little boy can have, and since I've gotten him, and we've had some structure for him, And man, we did basketball, we did football, and like the kid is just he he doesn't give up, you know. And he's got the most positive attitude all the time, and gets me a little emotional. For sure. For sure,
Proud
my
of
little
him.
boy. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's beautiful. So I got a question. I was just thinking about as you were sharing that. You talk about making a change, you've been in and out of prison for your daughter. I can see how proud you are of your son and what he's doing, despite circumstances he's gone through in his life as well. What would you say to someone that might be listening to this that is going in and out and hasn't made that solid decision to really correct their life or start taking more action towards just becoming
Man,
better?
surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with good people. Find the people in your life that are a support to you, that haven't given up on you, that you know you can count on to, you know, a lot of us excuse me, a lot of us, we have those people, but when we start screwing up and doing bad, we push them away,
Yeah.
right? And so, quit pushing them away would be my biggest piece of advice, because those are the ones that, man, they'll kill for you, other
Yeah.
than not kill for you, because then they'd go to prison, right? But
Yeah.
uh, there's just something to be said about finding your, like, what is the saying, that you are the person, or you are the five people you surround yourself
Yep.
with.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I can promise you that that's true.
That's cool. I saw you do a little clip on your Facebook, Instagram stories. Maybe it was you were talking about your mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me,
Mm.
was your mom one of those people for you? Or
Oh
your
my gosh, my mom was my rock, my foundation, my reason for being.
yeah,
Like, uh, she has, like, people talk about unconditional love.
yeah,
My mom has unconditional love. You know, for anyone that has ever been through a meth addiction, I won't go into too much detail, but like, I did crappy things, you
hmm,
know, uh, and not just crappy things, but like over and over and over, like going back to prison, and it's like, man, maybe this will be the time that he pulls it out. And when you don't, and they have that letdown again, you know, I remember my mom came in one time and told me, you know, Tanner, if this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, this is what you want to do for the rest of your life. But I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here. Put money on your books. I'll come visit you. But
that-
you know, yeah, yeah. So my mom is everything to me. She has just gotten she's the reason I'm still here.
that's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know that someone might be listening to be like, I don't have those people, but there are those people there in your life, whether it's your mom or a dad or a friend or a sibling.
Yep.
So don't push them away.
Amen.
Don't
Amen.
push them
Yeah.
away.
You know, that's the thing, is not everyone can have a saint for a mom.
Yeah.
Not everyone can have you know, a dad that doesn't give up on you. Nobody, sometimes people are like, "Well, I don't have family. I don't have." Okay, go find family. Go to church, you know. Go find, there's people out there that want to help you, that want to believe in you, and you just got to go find them. They're waiting.
They're all around.
Yep.
Yeah, I think about this has nothing to do with addiction or going to prison, but my neighbor over here, his name's Fred,
Yeah.
and his wife died from cancer suddenly. None of us knew a few years back. He has kids that live, a couple kids that live out of state. So he's basically alone. He could be like, I have no family here. And he got in a motorcycle crash. He got hit by a Mustang and lost his leg and
Oof.
shouldn't be alive, but he is. And it's just beautiful when you say that. Like you might feel like I don't have any family. Like he has family, he has some sons that are, that live out of town. But just seeing like the neighborhood come together for like bring him meals every day, cut his grass, visit him um in the hospital when he was recovering, and yeah, that was organized by the church and the neighbors here to do those things.
Sure.
But like when we went to see him the second time, the first time he was on drugs and couldn't recognize anybody, was like the day after,
Mm.
when they still didn't know if he would pull through. But the next time we went, like he had his leg all bandaged up, his little stump there, and he had his Raiders jersey on. He's a retired Marine that just loves the Raiders. And we ran into some of the roughest looking guys in the elevator with Raider jerseys. We're like, "You're here to see Fred, aren't you?" And they're like, "Yeah, he comes to the zone over to the sports bar and watches the Raiders with us. We're the Raiders Nation."
Yeah.
So even though like it's not a church or the neighborhood, like he found family in something that
Amen.
he was that and in his deepest need, you know. Um,
That's beautiful.
like he's someone that like I work from home and I'll go out and my driveway will be like snow blowed out. The neighbors' yards will be mowed, my garbage can will be brought in. He's just that. So it's a really hard thing for him to not be able to do those things right now.
Sure.
So he was in a place where like it's time for people to serve him and not just the church and neighborhood, but his Raiders Nation
Raiders Nation.
showed up for him. So that was
That's
super
awesome.
cool. I love that. So there are people around you, even if you don't have that mom or dad or a sibling. So
Yep.
that's awesome. I got a question for you. What's a struggle that you went through in your life? I know we talked about prison, but what's a struggle that comes to your mind that you went through that you learned
Oof.
something really powerful through?
I'm gonna be crying a lot apparently on
That's
this.
good, huh?
uh, in high school, I had a friend pass away in a car accident, and that led me to my years in and out of incarceration. Something I just could not come to terms with or come to grips with. You know, at the time, I was living overseas with my oldest brother in Egypt. So, being LDS, as you well know, you don't start dating till you're 16 years old. She turned 16 and was going to her first dance. And the driver, lost control of the vehicle and flipped it, rolled it, and killed her and another girl. And like the impact that had on my life, like we very rarely get to understand how much we might mean to another person.
Mhm.
After the accident, her parents shared a journal entry that she had written about me after, excuse me, after I had gone to Egypt, and it just said, Tanner has taught me so much about friendship and what it is to be there for someone, and just these beautiful, amazing things. And like just the hole that left inside me at a young age, that's where the addiction kicked in because I just didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to deal with it. Well, through all my years of struggling and stuff, like I finally was like, I have to do something. Like I have to figure this out. I have to do something about this. And this was even before I rejoined the church. I went and did ketamine counseling and
Oh
therapy,
yeah.
and I just had this realization that all the years that it had happened, I was mad at God, right? I was mad at God for taking her
Yeah.
and all these things. But through counseling and ketamine therapy, what I realized is I wasn't mad at God. I was scared that because of the way I'd been living, that I wasn't going to get to see her again.
That makes sense.
So once I once I had that realization and that that coming to myself, man, the doors busted off. I found myself. I found my purpose. I rejoined the church. I found happiness again because you don't understand like when you have something like that. Like I mean, I'm sure there's a million people out there that can relate. That the hole that's inside you, it's there for so long. I mean, you can see I still can't talk about her without crying.
Yeah.
You know, the hole that's inside you, it's always there and it never goes away. And sometimes you're distracted from it. But when you can come to peace a little bit with it, man, I never thought that was going to happen for me.
Yeah.
And so it was anyway. It was definitely the most life changing, life altering event, but on both ends of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful. As you've been talking about that, I think about there's so many like my audience is like just people who want to do more with their life or make some sort of positive change or want to be surrounded by like they're like I just want to live at a different level. I know it's possible, but we've been in this cycle. I just need to be around people like you've said that can show me a different way, that there's a different way to live. I'm just thinking about teenagers right now because this experience for you happened when you were a
Sure.
teenager, and we want to help as many people not fall into a cycle that takes many years from their life or causes deep pain to family, loved ones, parents. What would you say to a teenager if you could like sit down with a teenager that just had a loss or a loss of a parent, a friend, maybe is starting an addiction, and I know it's going to be hard for them to listen in that case, but
Amen.
what advice would you give someone if you were to sit down and just,
I think so it's funny that you posed this question. So my mom asked me years ago, there was this kid in the ward and he was really struggling.
Mhm.
And messing with drugs and doing different things and she's like, Tanner, what do I say to get through to him? How do I? And I said, and this kid had had his mom die in a car accident.
Mhm.
And I said, Mom, if there's anyone that's justified or feels justified for what they're doing, it's this kid. It's what more reason to use and to do those things is there than losing your mother or losing your father? I said, but the thing that I would say is you're never going to be happy.
Mhm.
It is all it you're prolonging the misery. You're exacerbating the misery.
Yeah.
You're not only now are you depressed and from this terrible tragedy that has happened, but now you're messing with the brain chemicals. And the human brain is a tricky thing and a
Yeah.
very sensitive thing. And so I would just encourage them, just like I talked about with the uh, people, surrounding yourself with people. Don't isolate. Don't isolate. Don't, find those good people that even if you can't be happy, let them be happy for you. Let them be your happiness for a while.
Yeah.
Let them carry you through, because, life is hard and life is unfair. And there's not ever, and it's not going to get more fair, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to go, wow, you had a tragedy. Okay, then I'll give you a gimme, right?
Yeah.
So I would just say, once again, going back to that, surrounding yourself with good people, find those people that will be a light for you, a positivity for you. Yeah,
Yeah, I would say that same thing. Any addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, pornography, mindlessly scrolling hours and hours of social media,
amen.
are all things to numb you from whatever pain or struggle you're going through. And it's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to, like you said, exasperate it, make it go longer, create more depression or unhappiness. So I'll just reiterate, be around some good people and create some good habits. Like
Right.
just whether it's exercise, find somewhere good to put that energy.
Oh, yes. And let me just throw in exercise. Exercise, 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 right? Because for me, it is my level. Like it's how I stay level.
Yeah.
If I'm not working out, I am not okay. Right? Like I I can tell I get cranky. I get like I start doing the depression thing. I'm like, oh, like so even I'm not like I like to go. I'm a weightlifter. I like to, lift the weights, but even if it's running, if it's yoga, if that's your thing, like find a way to get that endorphin release, that calmness that comes, because it's powerful and it's real, and it's something you can turn to.
Yeah. I'm the same way. If I don't do my exercise, I'm a grumpy guy. I
Yeah.
had a busy schedule today, and I even thought about, I was like, maybe I can just skip one day. I've already done 4 good days. I'll work out tomorrow. But I was like, if I want to be at the top of my game, like feeling wise, endorphin wise, happiness wise, like I'm gonna have to hit that workout.
Yeah.
So I got it.
Hey, proud of you.
There you go. Thank you. I got another question for you, circling back to business a little bit. What It's kind of hard for me to pose this question because you've been working in the factory since you were 6. Don't call child labor.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, if
But
you're the child, it's
um, But like when you started doing business more on your own, kind of like an entrepreneur, part business owner for Jailhouse or having part of the company, what was your first year of business like?
Man, so I'll tell you that I tell you I'm in a partnership, but my boss Bob told me one time, Tanner, right now we're an 8-cylinder car and you're all 8 cylinders. Like he was very just complimentary, and because I had that past experience with my parents' business, uh man, I was doing everything. I mean,
Mhm.
if I can take it off Bob's plate, I do it, right? And so I reached a point where I was doing the stuff for Target brands and I was doing the stuff for Jailhouse Jerky, and I burnt myself out.
Okay.
And I remember just going, I'm not going into work tomorrow. Like, I'm not going into work tomorrow. Uh, and so it was like at the same time, like it's been awesome and it's been amazing, and it's like there's parts of the business that, with my parents' company, that we didn't do for, like labels do,
Okay.
that we package for. And so, I mean, just things as simple as we don't arrange shipments. We let our customer arrange shipments. So they have to get a hold of the trucking company. They have to get a hold of, well, now that's on me, right? And
Okay.
so finding a broker and, learning, Bob, if you ever watch this, he will tell you that I am a wonderful salesman. My math skills are not great. uh, and so he says, Tanner, you need to go back to school for math. I said, I am going back to school, Bob, the school of Bob. uh, but like polishing up all those skills that I haven't used in a million years or haven't had to use. Um, it's been challenging, but at the same time rewarding, right?
Yeah.
Like I went down to a gun show down in Utah, and did selling product down there, and another guy came up and he goes, man, this jerky is fantastic. And I said, yeah, I know. And he said, well, listen, so he was selling these e-machines. He goes, but you see that jerky booth over there? I said, yeah. He's like, that's mine. He goes, your product is way better than mine. Uh, what do I got to do to get in on this? And he was a distributor for another company. And I walked away from that gun show selling, like I took 300 of each flavor. We have 4 flavors. I only sold about 100 plus bags of each flavor. I walked away from that gun show with 0 bags because I sold all my inventory to him. Uh, being able to uh, think on your feet,
Hmm.
being able to, make good business decisions. It's been extremely rewarding to uh, be told, Tanner, you're a natural salesman.
Yeah.
Tanner, you make good business decisions. You're quick on your feet. And so it's with the hard comes, or well, with the good comes the hard, right?
Yeah.
And more often than not, it's hard. But man, when you have those rewards and those, you start seeing product flow out of your jerky factory or whatever your jerky factory may be, uh, it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So I guess what you're trying to say is running a business is not just I have an idea and it just magically everything just
Oh
flows together and
man,
money starts pouring in.
if only, if only. Yeah, no, you got it. I mean, I was, and still, I mean, 12-hour days, 15-hour days. I mean, you got to imagine on top of doing, so for Target Brands, what I do is I handle the customers,
Okay.
right? And so we have this other customer, who, like, we are doing all their fulfillment, we're doing all their, and we're building their brand as well. And so I'm putting in 15-hour days sometimes to get all this done, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't leave a lot of time for my son, doesn't leave a lot of time for me. And so you have to be eyes on the prize, right? Like, why are you doing this? What are you in it for? Where do you believe this is headed? And is it worth it?
Yeah. So I have a question for you that you probably don't know is coming.
Okay.
So one part of my mission is to help people understand that their family is their most important work on earth.
Amen.
help them become better humans and help them know how to make more income for their family. That's kind of my mission. So someone might be listening to that and they're like, I want to start a business and 12, 15 hours a day. They might initially be thinking, I don't have that, or I got to be present for my kids or my spouse, any number of these things. How do you balance or be a great father slash future husband slash and successful at running your business?
Uh, Exhaustively.
Exhaustive.
Uh, no, so like with my son, right? He's a Fortnite junkie, right?
Hmm.
So while I may not be out like, we may not be out doing something every night or, sometimes like our bonding time is playing Fortnite together,
Okay.
right?
Do
It's
something
it's
together.
right. Do something together that is within your bandwidth. Um, uh, you know, um, I, as you mentioned, have the love of my life on the way, uh, and lots of FaceTime when I'm working. You
Yeah.
know, lots of texts and lots of. I'm lucky that with my parents, I work with my parents,
Hmm.
so I get to spend a lot of quality time with them, even though
It's work.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's work, and they probably want to kill me often, and I get frustrated with them, but it's finding time within the time,
Yeah.
I guess, but you say family's the most important thing. Yep, that's what I'm doing this for. I'm doing this so that I want to build this brand so that my parents can retire, so that they, even though my dad, he'll work forever, if you mention the word retire, what's that?
I feel like you're going to be like that too.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. My dream, honestly, is if I got this going to where it could be going. I want to open a sober house,
Cool.
because there's always that need, right?
Yeah.
And there's always that uh, uh, always the people that need to care, and it's something. I lost 6 friends to fentanyl overdoses, and so when the work is done, the work's not done,
Yeah.
you know.
That's true. I look at that as like, in order to persevere hardship or hard times growing a business, because growing a business is not easy,
Amen.
super rewarding, like giving your parents the opportunity in the future to retire or having enough abundance of income and time to open a sober house and serve like that. I look at that as like some compelling reasons that help you pull you through the challenging times or the days that might seem a little long or a little hard. One of the things I want to share, just a small example that's just on my mind as you share that, like I built a business for 15 years. I made close to $10 million in commissions, was really wise with my income in buying properties, paying them off, and then getting them under a management company on Airbnb and VRBO. So I had this incident where my whole business was taken away. All my customers, all the everything that had been built was taken away. So I went to zero income in that aspect. And it was so like in the moment, it was so painful. I felt hurt. I felt betrayed. I felt scared because I'm building a house and another vacation rental. Like, how am I going to pay for this with my whole business is like taken away? It'd be
Yeah.
like your factory burnt down, yeah, figuratively speaking. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kind of felt like that. And I almost, I haven't talked about this at all, but I almost gave up per se.
Hmm.
Like, I was at a point where I did the math. I was like, okay, if I take everything I put into this dream home so far and this vacation rental, if I got it all back, this house I live in where we're recording this podcast is paid for. I was like, if I just got all that money back, I could live on 100K for this amount of years. And I was like, I'd be 4 years away from when I can take out my retirement. I've been faithful at putting into my retirement and I could take that out and I have X amount in there. I could never work again.
Hmm.
Like, and so I had this moment where I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to simplify my life. I don't
Hmm.
have to, I can sell those properties. And I was like, for a couple of days, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sell those, simplify life. And I was just like, no, like I have to have something to wake up and work towards and serve some type of purpose. And you and I both know an idle mind is not going to go anywhere
Amen.
beneficial. So for me, I was like, no, I've been writing in my journal every single morning a dream and a goal of dreams and goals that I have. And I was like, I'm not just gonna give up because this hard thing happened. So I created some, so I was like, I'm gonna build something again. I'm only 43 years old. Typical retirement age is what, 65-ish?
Yep.
Like I have like 25 more years of the typical working life, and I'm gonna do everything possible to keep serving my mission of helping people remember their families their most important work on earth, help them feel better and be healthier, and help them earn more income for the family. And that's not gonna be done by me just giving up and living off of what I've created, right?
Yep.
So yeah, so you
Inspiration.
have some so that was some of my driving force for picking myself up in a hard time. I see, you want to help your parents have the ability to retire even though your dad might still come in just because he wants to work.
Yeah.
And you
Amen.
want to open your sober house. I think it's important that someone has something compelling and bigger to work towards and to serve people with, but not but and have something bigger, desire something bigger. But do you feel like sometimes people think they're not worthy of something more?
100%.
Like,
I mean, it's like, did this happen to me because I'm not worthy?
yeah,
Did this thing occur because of something I did, or is it the universe trying to tell me something, God trying to tell me
yeah,
something? Like I remember watching your stuff on social media when you're like, hey, like this is happening to me, and like I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I just felt for you, dude, because like literally having the rug pulled out from under you, and now you have to restructure and rethink your entire life.
yeah.
And so, hey, kudos to you,
Thank you.
dude. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the biggest things that helped me, and then we'll get back to this. I don't want this to be about me. I already did a
It,
season one,
uh,
episode one with me.
well,
I
it's
think
because
one
you're
of the
inspirational.
No, I think one of the biggest things for me was I had defined at some point what my purpose was. And I've said a few times, help remind people that their family is the most important work on earth, help them feel better and be healthier and earn more income for their family. So for me, it was just a matter of like, okay, I just need to find a different way to do that. So I had that clear purpose to get back up on my feet quickly in that aspect. So I think it's important that someone understands like what am I here for? Like how am I supposed to use my life to help other people? And I see you doing that with working in the prison system and being mentorship and having a goal and a desire for this house, to help people with, this a system to help people with. So
Mhm.
kudos for you on that.
Thank you.
Um, so I have a question that I want to ask you. Where do you see yourself in the next like 5 to 10 years? What do you see yourself doing?
Man, so I definitely see myself with with this Jailhouse brand. I mean, um I I want to grow this to its maximum potential. Um the slogan or the saying that we say in house all the time is we want to be bigger than Jack Links.
Okay.
Uh that's where we want to grow this business to. And so people, oh, Jack Links, yep, but my jerky's better,
Yeah.
And so when you have the desire, the dream, the goal, the vision, that's what you can accomplish. With the opportunity that I've been given with making wellness, I want to help people feel good.
Yeah.
I want to help people understand that you know uh, with exercise and taking care of yourself and giving your body the stuff that it needs, that you can feel good all the time.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to now I'm not clinical depression and things like that, obviously, but like for the person that's like us, where they get depressed because they're being lazy or
Yeah.
they're not motivated or whatever it is. I want to give people that. I want to give people opportunities. Um, and so right. So I'll take a little side note and then we'll go back to this. So
Yeah.
I had a chiropractor fracture my ribs. I had my gallbladder removed in emergency gallbladder surgery. The day after that, I had pancreatitis. I was in the ICU for 3 days, and then I tore my bicep, all within a year of each other.
Yeah.
Uh, I had no medical insurance. that was a lot. It was, I had a mountain of debt that I just this year have been able to come out from under. And so what did that mean? That mean moving home with mom and dad,
Yeah.
right? So I want to, in the next 5 to 10 years, not only do I want to buy their home from them, but I want to have my own home. And, my motivating factor is my parents sacrificed a lot of time, energy, and money for my stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to pay them back that money, buy their home from them, have that be another property, and let them, grow old and then have that house one day, the house that I grew up in. I mean, that is my vision, that I want. Getting married to Marbelis,
Yeah.
And maybe having another kid, another
Cool.
kiddo. That's, I miss my son and my daughter's, baby years.
Yeah.
I was too busy being stupid. So to be able to have that opportunity, man, I can almost see it. And when you can see it, you can do it, right?
Absolutely. I always share, this is my own belief. I believe when God puts a vision or a dream on your heart, there's always a way to be able to accomplish it. If you believe in it, have faith in Him, but then put in the work. Like
Amen.
show up daily and put in the work. And it's funny, it's beautiful. I lay with my son, my youngest son, every night. And he's 9. And like he got to see me like curled up in a ball on the bench at the end of my bed, just bawling
Mm.
when I was trying to figure out like, you know,
Yep.
what to do and how to figure it out. And every night, and I don't ask him to, he says his prayers every night and I'm with him. And one of his prayers is help daddy find the good people that will help his business grow,
Mm.
that he can work with. And that's kind of how I operate. I'm just like, I don't know where I'm going to find the right people or the right resources, the right connections to grow my business. But I believe if I share my vision boldly with the world and what I believe in, that God will bring me the people that I can work with. And then my job is just to serve them to the best of my ability, do my best.
Amen. What a powerful and important part, right?
Yeah. And so that's kind of how I operate. Well, we'll get to wrapping this up because I'm ready to eat some of your jerky, and I hear my boys coming in the door, and we'll get them some jerky as well. But I
Absolutely.
want to ask you one final question. Someone was going to be listening to this, someone maybe we haven't even met yet. What's like your final piece of advice or words would you tell that person that's listening to this, no matter where they're at in their life?
Don't give up. Don't give up. I you know, you can go through, I mean, you can handle a lot. You can make it, no matter what you go through in life, no matter the hardships, no matter the prison stints, no matter just don't give up, find a purpose, find a reason,
Yeah.
and focus on it and think about it every day and keep it in your mind. Because I mean, I've been, every relapse, everything that I've ever had, I lost focus, right? I
Mhm.
lost that vision. But the one thing I can say is I never gave up. I never quit wanting better for myself. I just lost focus sometimes. So, keeping that in the forefront of your mind, I think is huge. So
That's beautiful.
thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, brother.
I
I'm proud of
appreciate
you. I believe you're going to achieve all of those goals and visions that you shared with me.
Thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you, Scottie.
Thank you for joining us on the second episode of Season 2, and we hope that you enjoyed the content that we shared with you today. We're here to remind you that your family is your most important work on earth, help you feel better, and learn how to earn more income for your family. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a positive review and share it with a friend.